It's math class, second grade. Today we have lesson 138 in math, and we are learning to subtract 4-digit numbers with borrowing from thousands. Okay, so that means like we're going to be borrowing way more, yet another digit than what we did before. So I'll explain that to you after we're done with our review, then I'll explain that to you then. Let's look on the board here, and there on the top we have numbers. They want us to go by 25s, so we'll write the numbers in by 25s. Before 400 by 25s comes 375. Then we have 400, 425, 325, then we have 350. Before 750 we have 725, 750, and then here's a comma, so that means we're starting with this one. So 575, before that we have 550, 575, and then 600. All right, today they're getting us to learn more Roman numerals, and quite a bit more Roman numerals. So we have, do you still remember what 1 was? 1 was simply I. And then we have 2, which would be I, because you have 2 I's for that. You connect them there. 3 is 3 I's. So I means 1, so then if you have 3, then you have 3 I's. So 3 is I. And 4 is 1 less than 5. So if you remember what 5 was V. So 1 less than 5 would be an I before the V, which means 5 minus 1. So you go I, V for 4. 5 is V. 6 is 1 more than 5, so you go VI. 7 is 2 more than 5, so you go VII. 8 is 3 more than 5, so we go VIII. 9 is, well, 10 was X, right? Okay, so then we would go 1 minus X for 9, so that would be IX. And then 10 was X. Now 11 just kind of keeps on with X, so we have XI, because 10 plus 1 is 11. So XI for 11. 12 is XII. 10 plus 2 is 12. So 12 is XII. Okay, let's come over to the computation problems here now, and we'll do these. 3 minus 6, we can't go that, so we have to borrow. So 3 minus 6, we'll borrow, put a 1 beside the 3, cross out the 8, put a 7 on top. 13 minus 6 is 7. 7 minus 9, we still can't do that, so we have to borrow again. 17 minus 9 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 minus nothing is 2. And your answer is 2,187. Okay, so now we have this problem here. 1 minus 9, we can't do that, so we need to borrow. So put a 1 beside the 1, cross out the 6, put a 5 on top. 11 minus 9 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. Your answer is 1,022. Okay, so here we have a minus again. 9 minus 6 is 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. 4 minus 7, we can't do that, so we need to borrow. 14 minus 7 is 7. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 4,753 is your answer. Okay, 6 minus 3 is 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 7, we can't do that, so we'll borrow. 15 minus 7 is 8. 1 minus nothing is 1. 1,843. Okay, let's do a little bit of money now today again. We review money. So we have our coins here to look at. And we have a $50 is worth 50 cents on the $50. We have a quarter 25 cents. Dime is 10 cents. And nickel is 5 cents. Penny, 1 cent. And then we also have the dollars, so $10 and $5, and we have $1. Okay, so that was our money. Now let's talk about money a little bit. I have a paper here that shows you things. Can you see this paper? So we're going to count on here. We have a bunch of 50s here, a bunch of $50. So 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. So that would be $4. And then we have here, we have 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 16, 50, 60, 70, 85. $16.85 is your answer for that. And then we have these guys here. Now these are 10s. The first ones here are 10s, the last two are 1s. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 61, $62, and 25, 30, 35, 40, 41, 42. So your answer for that one is $62.42. And then we have this, and that's 10, 15, 16, 17. $17.25, 30, 31, 32. So the answer for that one is $17.32. Okay, let's look at this bar graph here. Now we have this is like talking about bridges. The length of bridges is the title. So we have, how much longer is the Golden Gate Bridge than the Brooklyn Bridge? So Golden Gate Bridge says 1,280, and the Brooklyn Bridge is 486 feet long. So if we're talking about how much longer, we need to subtract. So we're going to subtract those numbers. We'll do it over here on the board. So we have 1,280 minus 486. 0 minus 6, we'll need to borrow. 10 minus 6 is 4. 7 minus 8, can we go 7 minus 8? Well, it looks like we need to borrow again. So 7 minus 8, let's borrow again here. 17 minus 8 is 9. 1 minus 4, well, the 1 is less than the 4, so we'll need to borrow again. So we'll put a 1 beside there and cross that out and put a 0 on top. So 11 minus 4 now is 7. So my answer is 794. So the Golden Gate Bridge is 794 feet longer than the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay, let's now think about which bridge is the longest. So it looks like the Golden Gate Bridge is longest. Golden Gate Bridge comes way out to here, so that's the longest. And then which bridge is the shortest? So it looks like we have Brooklyn Bridge is the shortest. How much longer is the George Washington Bridge than the New River Gorge Bridge? So the George Washington Bridge is 1,067 meters. Actually, it's going by meters. I didn't see that till now, but this is going by meters. Now, meters are about as big as a foot, but Canada would use the meters for their measurement. So we have the, how much longer is the George Washington Bridge? The George Washington is 1,067 meters, and the New River Gorge Bridge is 518 meters. So let's figure that out now. We'll write it here on the board. 1067 minus 518. Okay, so we have 7 minus 8. We can't go 7 minus 8 because the 7's less than the 8, so we need to borrow. So we'll borrow on that. 17 minus 8 is 9. 5 minus 1 is 4. 0 minus 5, we can't do that, so we have to borrow again. 10 minus 5 is 5. 549 meters longer. So the George Washington Bridge is 549 meters longer than the New River Gorge. All right, do you still remember AM and PM for telling time? So AM is in the forenoon and PM is in the afternoon. So whenever you have AM, you're talking about in the morning, right after midnight, 12 o'clock when you're still asleep. So that's when AM starts and it goes until lunchtime. And then it starts to be PM until 12 o'clock that night. Then it changes to AM again. So we have time here again. So we have, this is not quite 6 o'clock here. It's not quite 6 o'clock. So we would say it is 5:45 because now it got to be 6 o'clock. Here it's not quite 6 o'clock, so it is 5:45. And here we have 2:30. Here we have 1:40. Remember, you always give the shorthand, give him at first chance, and then go give the long hand. So first of all, you look at the shorthand and write that number down, and then this is the minute hand, and the minute hand goes by 5s around the clock. All right, let's look now in today's lesson. So we have subtracting 4-digit numbers with borrowing from the thousands. And that's actually what we did here for this problem. We were borrowing from the thousands place over here. So now they're getting us to borrow more and more and more, and they're getting us to be really good at this. So let's look here what we have on this problem here. Here's the place values. So we're going to always start in the ones place, of course. And we have 8 minus 3, which 8 is higher than 3, so we're okay on that. We don't have to borrow for that one. And then we have a 7 minus 4 is 3. We're still good to go on that one. 2 minus 8, can we go 2 minus 8? Well, 2 is less than 8, so we're going to have to borrow on that. So we will put a 1 beside the 2, cross out the 6, and put a 5 on top. And 5 minus 2 is, no, first of all do this one. 12 minus 8 is 4, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So your answer is 3,435. Okay, let's do this problem here. So we have 1 minus 3, and that's less than 3, so we're going to have to borrow. So put a 1 beside the 1, cross out the 0, and put a 9 on top. And we will, I do believe we will need to cross out the 2 right away. Yes, we will need to cross out the 2 right away because do you remember how if we have zeros there and we put a 9 on top, you have to right away cross the next one out and put less on top. So we have to right away cross this one out and put a 1 on top of there. So 19 is less than 20. 19 up here and 20 here. Whenever you put a 9 on top of a 0, you have to right away come over here to this number and cross that one out and put a less number on top of it. Okay, so now we're ready to subtract here. 11 minus 3 is 8. 9 minus 3 is 6. 1 minus 7, it looks like we're stuck again. It looks like we need to do some borrowing. So 1 minus 7, put a 1 beside the 1, cross out the 6, and put a 5 on top. And now we're ready to go and subtract again. So 11 minus 7 is 4. 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3,468 is your answer. Okay, let's do this problem here. Yet 2 just for some extra practice. So we have, oh, it looks like we have a bunch of zeros up there on the top, and the bottom numbers are higher than those zeros. So I think we're gonna have to do a bunch of borrowing on here. And since we have a bunch of zeros, that means I will probably have to put a bunch of nines on. So we're just gonna have to keep going and keep going with our borrowing. So we'll just take one step at a time, and always remember to start in the ones place, of course, and just slowly work your way through over to the end of the problem. So start always on your right and work over to your left. Okay, so we have 0 minus 2. We can't do that, so we'll need to put a 1 here. And then we'll cross out the 0 and put a 9 on top. Well, here's another 0, so that doesn't help us much, so we have to cross it out and put a 9 on top again. And finally we get to a number where we can put a less number on top of it, so we'll cross it out, the 6 out, and put a 5 on top. So do you see the 600 here? We actually went and put 599 on top of the 600, and 599 is the number just less than 600. So if you have zeros, you need to put a 9 on top, but you always need to keep looking over to the next number and keep borrowing from that. So 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 5 is 4, 9 minus 6 is 3, 5 minus 2 is 3. So our answer is 3,348. All right, let's look here at the story problem, yeah? So we have Gary had 70 sheep. Don had 50 sheep. How many fewer sheep did Don have than Gary? Okay, so I have how many fewer in here, and whenever we have how many fewer, we need to subtract. So first of all, let's underline our numbers. We have 70 and sheep, and 50 and sheep, and fewer sheep. I think maybe many on that. Let me check for sure. No, not many. Just fewer sheep is fine. Okay, so 70 minus 50, right down here. And your answer is 20 sheep. Okay. I think that covers today pretty good. And it'd be nice if you could remember to study your flashcards again. And today you will have a speed drill, so you can do your speed drill. And we also have a worksheet. So the worksheet today is number facts 22 and 2-digit subtraction number 4. Okay, that does it for today, and you can go ahead with your lesson, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.